Hey guys, what's up? In today's video I want to look at Titanfall 2 and I want to break down my 10 points that I want to see in the next game. I think Titanfall 2 is only due for 2017, if we're lucky, so it's still a long way to go, but nonetheless, why not break down the points that we want to see improved from the previous game, which by the way I really loved. I would prefer Titanfall over any of the recent Call of Duty games, personally. Yes, there was a lot of criticism. People said it's very repetitive. They also complained that there's no single-player campaign. So I'm gonna share my views on this game and kind of make a few points that I think could really improve Titanfall in the next iteration of Respawn's game. So the first thing on my list is more guns. Now, Titanfall 1 had this kind of clever concept of saying, if you have a really good assault rifle, you don't need more than this one assault rifle. And like, I'm a player, I always play assault rifles. It's just my kind of weapon. I just like them the most. So while I really enjoyed the assault rifle they had in it, and I mean, yes, they had like a bit of variation, like weapons that were in between an SMG and an assault rifle. There was a bit of variety going on, and the actual assault rifle they had was really good. I think it's like one of my favorite weapons in any first-person shooter. It felt right, it did quite the right amount of damage and all that. It was a great weapon, but nonetheless, I want a bit more diversity. I want more guns in the game. I want more options to modify them, make them my own, and I'm pretty sure that is something that Respawn is looking at, because it already adds so much more diversity to the game if you can just create your character, customize him a bit more to your needs, and then also customize your weapon with scopes and, I don't know, silencers and all the different things. You could do that to an extent, but if you look at the latest Call of Duty iterations, you can do that so much more, and it really adds like a quite valuable layer, I feel, to first-person shooter. So I think that's something that could really help Titanfall 2. So next point on my list is more story. While in the last game they had some kind of campaign, essentially it was just a set of multiplayer matches and then a few events happened during the multiplayer match, and there was not really any difference between like just a normal team deathmatch and what they called a single player campaign. But I just feel this world that Titanfall happens in, with all these mining stations and giant spaceships landing on tropical planets, it just has so much room to build a beautiful story around it. And I don't know if I want like just a stupid standard Call of Duty-esque single player campaign. I would think it would be much cooler to have maybe single co-op missions, right? Where you fight with your friend and you have to complete certain challenges or whatever. And it kind of like these Spec Ops missions in Modern Warfare 2. I don't know if you remember those, but if you would have a whole campaign with 10-15 missions like that, I think that would be just awesome and would really add another layer to the game. And I really want to explore this Titanfall universe a bit more. Like, where do these spaceships come from? Like, I want to see the production line where they built the Titans. Who is this Hammond Corporation, Hammond Industries, I think they're called. Like, all that. Like, there's such a rich background to all this that I really want to explore and that I want to know about. So I want to see more story, maybe add elements like civilians in maps. So as the match starts, right, the two teams drop into the arena, like into the city or whatever, where the battle happens. Maybe you have civilians running out of their homes, evacuating and things like that. Just bring it a bit more to life and really explore the richness that the universe already seems to have, right? Like, if you just launch a map, on the bottom quite often it has these one or two liners like, this is a derelict mining station on this and that planet, it was left because this and that happened, you know, something like that. Just bring these stories a bit more to life. The third point on my list is that I want to see more damage on assault rifles and SMGs. I just feel that particularly in Titanfall, it takes forever to kill a guy, and it's just the thing where you see the guy running around and you need to pump 3 full rounds of bullets into him until he actually dies, and that just sucks. Obviously it depends on the weapon, what weapon you use, but in all the guns that I like to use, it just takes way too many bullets to take a player down. And if I'm in the position of having an advantage and I shoot him, I want to make sure that he goes down and not like pump 15 bullets into him until he ultimately dies and he still has time to turn around and maybe even use the smart pistol to take me out, because it just takes forever to take him down with an assault rifle. So I want to see more damage on assault rifles and SMGs. But the fourth point is something that might be specific to my machine. I do experience crashes every now and then. It doesn't really happen often, but sometimes, whatever, if I play on PC, if you watch a movie on your left screen and you play Titanfall on the right screen, sometimes it crashes because, I don't know, there are some issues with too many tasks running at the same time. And every time I shut down the game, I get a message that says Titanfall crashed unexpectedly, which is weird because I just hit the quit button and I just leave the game as you normally would through the menu, and then I still get the crash message. So I would hope that they make the code of the game a little bit more solid, so stuff like this just doesn't happen. It's not really a big thing, it's just something that I noticed. Now, the fifth point is controversial because it is basically that I would hope to have a few smaller no Titan maps. If we remember, Respawn Entertainment at some point, I think half a year ago, and actually I made a video about it as well, introduced this pilot skirmish mode, which is basically a mode where you play the normal Titanfall maps, but there are no Titans, it's just pilots, and also I think there are no bots, so it is just pilot versus pilot. Now, I love that, and I think it worked, but not in these huge maps. Like, obviously these maps are made for Titans, and it is mainly designed to have very busy bots all around, and Titans, and a lot of stuff happening in different areas of the map. Now, I would hope that they maybe create a few smaller versions of the existing maps, so if you want, you can only have close combat matches, right? So you can just get your whatever 5-6 friends on and have a 3-on-3 on a small, really tight map. Now I can imagine that guys will be like, oh, but that's basically Call of Duty. I disagree. I think Titanfall feels very differently with all the running around, the wall running and the different mechanics they have. Generally, the vertical gameplay is such an essential part of the game that I think it still would be quite different to any other game, like whether it's Battlefield or whether it's Call of Duty, and I would really love to see that, and I can really see that happening and being actually quite different from the Call of Duty experience. And also the argument of people saying, well, Titanfall is very repetitive, it's always the same. I think that would really add another layer to it, because it breaks up the gameplay so much. Suddenly playing this in like a really tight environment where it's only pilot versus pilot in more like Call of Duty sized maps, it would really create just another nearly game type, like nearly another game in itself, that when you get bored of all the Titan gameplay, you can switch over to and play that for half an hour and then go back to the Titans, and it just makes everything more diverse and richer. I think that's what would help the game to make it a bit more fun. Now, point number 6 on my list is cross-platform gaming. Titanfall is, to me, a synonym for innovation, right? This whole wall running, the double jumping, the whole mechanics that they introduced in Titanfall were copied by so many other games. And you can see Advanced Warfare, right, had the double jump. And now also Black Ops 3 has to have the double jump and it has to have wall running. So I think Titanfall, with all these elements that they introduced to the gameplay, really set a new standard, right? You just can't imagine a proper contemporary first-person shooter now without all these elements. It would be like a step back that nobody wants to see. So for me, Titanfall stands for innovation, and I think Titanfall should also innovate on other fronts, like for instance, cross-platform gaming. Why not have Titanfall being the first game where you can play Xbox One versus PlayStation? Vince Zampella, who is head of Respawn Entertainment, the company behind the game, already said that he is interested in seeing something like this. He doesn't want to bring out the next game only on Xbox One like they did with the previous game. So I think there's real opportunity there to just really explore the options of cross-platform gaming. And again, if that works really well, and if Titanfall 2 makes Xbox One matches compatible with PlayStation 4 matches and you can go up against each other, it would not only fill the lobbies up, it would make everything more interesting, but it would also again set the bar for other games, right? If the next Call of Duty or Battlefield then does not do that, people will ask the question, well, Titanfall does it, like it works really well, why are you not doing it? I want to play with everyone, and it's just shit to separate the two. To be honest, I don't think it's gonna happen. I just can't see it from a legal point of view. I can't see Microsoft and Sony agreeing to this, but I think personally it would be absolutely amazing and it would be the right step forward. And again, I keep saying this and preaching this in so many videos of mine, but like putting people together in gaming is so much better than just separating people and saying, I'm an Xbox gamer, I'm a PS4, I'm a PC player. Like, fuck that shit. Just make everything cross-platform. However, PC and consoles is still a different league, I think, simply because of the input devices. If you play on a controller, you just can't react as quickly with that controller, unless you're like a high-end pro gamer, which most people just are not, then you can with the mouse and keyboard on the PC. So I think probably that would still have to be separate, the PC gamers and the console gamers. But like I said, Xbox One and PS4, bring them together, turn it into one gaming platform in Titanfall 2. Point number 7 on my list is basically that I wish there would be more diversity throughout the matches. At the moment, and I mostly play attrition, and I know there are loads of different game types, but I just wish they would mix it up a little bit. So maybe imagine you're playing an attrition game, and then at some point you're behind 50 points with your team, and then it says, oh, come on, find this special person or hunt this special crate that's hidden somewhere in the map. And if you find it and you unlock it, it gives you these 50 points and it brings your team back up head to head with the other team, right? And it starts this hunt that happens in the middle of an existing matches, and maybe just like take elements from other game types and randomly put them into the main game type, because I think generally people are just playing team deathmatch. That's like the majority of people what they play. And you could really take beautifully little points of capturing maybe a flag, bringing an item from A to B, rescuing a person and bringing them to an exit point, or whatever it is. Just have these events happen randomly throughout the matches would really help to make it a bit more fun, make it more diverse. Again, it could be a separate game mode, right? You can switch it off so you can play your normal attrition or your normal team deathmatch, but then there is attrition deluxe, whatever you want to call it, and in that you have these random events happening. I think that would be fun. I would certainly like to play it. Point number 8 is, please, Respawn Entertainment, do not change the movement and keep the focus on 60 FPS. It's nice to amp up the graphics and make everything look even better, but I think more importantly than the game looking insanely awesome is that even on slightly lower machines, it just runs with constant 60 FPS. I think it's so important for a shooter like this. Also, like I said, the movement, like the wall running, the double jumping, how this mechanic worked in the first Titanfall was just perfect. Like I couldn't find any negative point on these movement mechanics. So I would say just leave all that the same. You know, I don't know, don't start adding weird new mechanics that don't really add anything to the game. Keep it the same, keep it smooth, make sure we have 60 FPS and then build the game around that rather than making new movement and making the graphics nicer and then work back from that. I think that would be the wrong way. Point number 9 is remove the fucking smart pistol. I hate the smart pistol. It's a useless gun. It encourages passive gameplay of people like hiding behind your back and playing passively. It avoids aiming skills, all that stuff. It's just a trolling gun. It doesn't make any sense. It's stupid. I can see why they put it in there. It's never been done before, but I just hate the fucking smart pistol. And every time I see someone killing someone else with it, it's just screaming like that he's such a crazy noob. So please just take out the smart pistol and don't do this again. It doesn't go anywhere in my opinion. And point number 10, the last point, is that I want to see esport support. I want to see Titanfall 2 getting a tournament where the teams can win $1 million, right? Basically what Call of Duty is doing with the Call of Duty Championship or whatever it's called. I want to see Respawn Entertainment going out there, getting sponsors on board, collecting money and creating these proper exciting esports events around Titanfall 2, because the game is made for it. It would be a lot of fun and I just want to see it on a competitive level. I want to see it on a professional level. And I heard voices saying like, oh, but it's not a lot of fun to watch it. I personally disagree. I love watching people play Titanfall when they're good, you know, and if the team works nicely together, it is as much fun to watch as, I don't know, Call of Duty or even Counter-Strike, to me personally. So I can really see that happening. But guys, these are my points. I'm sure you have your own thoughts. So if you feel that I missed anything in my list of 10 points, then feel free to leave all that down in the comment section below. If you have a different opinion, you can also share that underneath. If you hate Titanfall and you just want to tell me how much I suck that I actually like the game, that is amazing. You're really smart in doing so. Please leave all that down in the comment section below. You can leave me a like on the video if you enjoyed it. You can share the video, do all all the good stuff, subscribe to my channel. That would be much appreciated. Otherwise, guys, take care, and I'll see you next time. I'm out. Bye.